So you know back in 2022 DJI released this, the DJI Avata, a really cool, fun FPV drone. Well, now you can get it as part of the new Explorer combo. It comes with a new motion controller too, and it comes as part of the DJI Integra goggles. And in this video I'm going to tell you why this would be my pick for the DJI Avata. So unless you don't know what this is a small FPV drone. Now it has a lot of advantages over the original DJI FPV drone. So when I'm flying FPV, this would be the one I am picking the most. Now this has a few key advantages. One, it is really small and much more lightweight than the original. Second, it's got built-in prop guards. So when you're flying this, when you're flying any FPV drone, you're probably going to crash it quite a few times. And the build quality of this is really strong and robust. I've crashed this quite a few times, it's still going strong, and because these prop guards are built in, you're not going to have any worry when flying through small objects. And that's what's great about this for flying indoors, flying through things, flying closer to things where it's more risky. This is the one. And also it has a lot of advantages as well, meaning like the battery life is really good on here, it's a lot easier to travel with, it's so much fun. Also has return to home. If it loses signal, it will come back to you. It's got emergency stop. So it has a lot of features built into it in case things go wrong. However, that's the actual drone itself. But what I want to talk to you today is about how you can actually pick this up with a cheap pair of goggles, and also what this new motion controller 2 is all about and why this is the combo I would pick. Now you can get the DJI Avata as a drone only option, but by getting a combo, if you're new and you're just getting into this, there's two combos that DJI offer. Now the first one was the Pro View combo, and in the UK that was £1,249, and this comes with the goggles 2 and the motion controller. Now the new one, which is the Explorer combo, this comes with the DJI Avata. You're going to get the new motion controller 2 and also these new Integra goggles. So I want to talk to you about what the actual difference is between the original controller and the new motion controller 2, and also the difference between the goggles 2 and the goggles Integra, and why I would pick this combo and save a bit of money. Let's get straight into the difference, first of all, between the motion controller and the motion controller 2. So this is the motion controller, and it's one of two ways of how you can fly this DJI Avata drone. So this motion controller is like a really kind of relaxed, easy way of flying the drone. So basically you just have the controller in your hand like a fighter pilot, and as you move your wrist, the actual drone will mimic that and move as well. It's also got a trigger on the front, so you just pull the trigger back and the drone will fly forwards. It basically responds to your wrist movements, and it's a really kind of unique way of flying any drone. And especially for beginners, when they're getting one of these, you could just give this to anybody, put it in the hand, and they can actually go and fly an FPV drone really easily. And I think this is why it comes with these controllers, unlike coming with the actual remote controller, which unlocks more features but is a lot easier to crash. And I will come on to the remote controller in a second, but these is what it's going to come with. Now the difference really between the motion controller and the motion controller 2 is firstly the trigger on the back. So now you've got a reverse function. So if I pull this back here, the drone's going to go forwards. But on the motion controller 2, it's also now got a trigger, so I can push up and the drone will now go backwards. So it's got that reverse function. And also on the front of the controller here, you'll notice that this now has a joystick, whereas this one doesn't. So now you can actually control the aircraft. You can move it left and right. You can also move it up and down with this joystick, so it gives you a bit more control. There's also a dial on the side as well, so you've got quick access to the camera parameters. So overall, it's a lot more thought out. There's a lot more things you can do with this easier. You've still got all the built-in safety functions, like you can pause the flight instantly just by pressing this orange button. You can hold down this button here and the drone will automatically come back to you. And with regards to the actual latency, they're both pretty much identical. So as soon as you move it, the drone will respond to that. There's no lag whatsoever. And these are really cool, and my daughter especially loves using the DJI Avata with this. So I would never trust it in a million years with the remote controller, especially in manual mode, but I can quite happily and confidently give her this controller and she can just fly the drone just by moving her wrist like that and seeing it with the goggles on. And that's what it's about. It's about getting your friends or family involved in flying an FPV with the goggles on without thinking they're going to crash it, they're going to crash it. You know, this is like the fun factor. What about these new goggles? And it also comes with the new Goggles Integra. Now, when the DJI Avata was released as that ProView combo, that comes with the Goggles 2. So what is the difference between these two really small, lightweight goggles? Well, the main key advantage and why I really like these Integra goggles is it now has a built-in battery into the actual headband. So this brings a mass advantage to me, which is convenience. So I don't have to think, where's the battery for this? Because you have to bring a separate small battery that attaches on a wire into here, and then it's basically just like dangling around, and you have to put it either in your pocket or attach it somewhere like in your hood or something. And if you forget that, you can't power these on, and I couldn't tell you the amount of times I forgot to bring that. So that's a huge disadvantage, I would say, to these. It's remembering those little batteries. Whereas now this has actually got it built in. I can never forget it. So you're going to get 2 hours of actual flight time with this built-in battery. It's also really good as well because on the back here, it's got an adjustment. So you can actually make this strap or headband tighter or looser just by turning this. So again, it's more convenient. So what's actually worse on these goggles compared to say the Goggles 2, because the Integra goggles are cheaper? Well, not much. You see, they both have the same 1080p OLED screen, so you get this really high quality immersive view when you're looking through this screen here. It's just unlike anything else you'll have seen or experienced when you've been using just like the normal RC controllers. You know, having goggles on is a completely different flying experience. It also has the same DJI OcuSync 3 Plus video transmission, so that's really good. The latency is really low, so perfect. Now I have noticed is that the Integra antennas are slightly bigger as well than the Goggles 2. Now I don't know if that's going to give any advantage to video transmission. I found transmission to be really good on both. It's also got the SD card slot there, so you just put your SD card in. So yeah, I really do enjoy using these. Now, how are they different? Well, in a couple of ways. You see, on here, you've got an actual physical button of how you actually go into the menus, and you've also got a back button there. And on the Goggles 2, it has a touch panel. Now, some people like this touch panel, some people don't. This doesn't have a physical button on them. If that means a lot to you, getting the touch panel, then maybe the Goggles 2. But really, I'd say the only reason why you should get the Goggles 2 over the Integra goggles is if you wear glasses and you need the diopter adjustment. So on the Goggles 2 here, you can see that I can now turn this and it's got a diopter adjustment on the bottom. They both move across like this, the same, but this one has the diopter adjustment dial on the bottom, whereas on the Integra goggles, it doesn't. You can just slide them across. Now that's not to say that the view is worse. The fit I find is probably a bit comfier on here. I find there's not as much light leak coming in, so I really do like the fit of these. Now inside of the box with the Integra goggles, you also get loads of different lens covers as well. So if you wear glasses, then there's loads of different ones that come with this, and these just pop on here to try and get like the very best view for you and the very best fit. So yeah, overall, for that convenience factor, for ease of use and quality, I would say the Integra goggles would be my #1 pick. And especially if in the US, this will bring a huge advantage. These have built-in GPS, which means you don't have to have your goggles connected to your phone all the time like you would on the Goggles 2. On the Integra goggles, it's all built in. So not necessarily a bad thing for us in the UK or Europe yet, but for the American viewers, that's going to be a huge deal. And also what this brings you, the advantage that DJI have recently allowed compatibility, that if you have a DJI Mavic series like the Mavic 3, Mavic 3 Pro, or the Mini 3 Pro, you can use the drone with the motion controller too and the goggles. Now, either the Goggles 2 or the Integra goggles work. However, you only get it to work if you have the motion controller too. So if you do get this combo, this is a huge advantage because you can actually now have the goggles on and then use the controller to fly your Mavic or Mini 3 Pro. I mean, it's just incredible. So as I say in a separate video, I wouldn't go out and buy both of these just to fly a Mavic or Mini 3 Pro. I would get this as part of the Avata kit. Then you've got a really good FPV drone, but you can also have a bit of fun as well and fly the Mavic 3 or the Mini 3 Pro with your motion controller 2 and the goggles to get this first person really immersive experience with your camera drone as well. There is one other accessory which you could pick up, which I highly recommend, and this is the DJI Remote Controller 2. You see, when you're flying any FPV drone like this, it's really good to start and when practicing using the motion controller. However, if you want to get the most out of any FPV drone, especially DJI Avata, if you have this controller, this will then allow you to two things. One, fly it like an actual controller, so you have full control with the flight sticks. Secondly, you can then unlock manual mode. So you can't use manual mode with the motion controller 2. You can use normal and sports mode. You can't use manual. However, when you have the experience and you're ready, you can then switch this into manual mode and now you can do those rolls, those flips. You have full control with the controller. So I hope you enjoyed that video there. This is what I would personally get if I wanted to get into the DJI Avata system, just went into FPV, want to learn something new. I would go and pick up this new Explorer combo with the goggles. It's got the built-in battery and the motion controller 2. And if you already have like a Mini 3 Pro or a Mavic series, then you can use this and have some fun with that as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to go and check out this Explorer combo, I'll link it at the top of the description. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.